Chapter 1-1. Morning comes. The sun is just showing over the horizon. The roosters begin to sing, calling everyone to get up. The door of a small wooden shed opens. A young guy with black hair comes out on the street. He scares the roosters with his appearance. The guy yawns sweetly and stretches, then rubs his eyes sleepily. He opens his eyes, and a smile appears on his face. He mentally declares, "It's time to start." The guy takes a broom and starts taking revenge by scaring off the roosters. The guy's name is Yong Kai. He is a disciple in the Sky Tower Pavilion. He started training at this place 2 years ago, but he was only able to reach the 3rd stage of body tempering. This is a very mediocre level, so the other disciples laughed behind his back, saying that spending 3 years to reach the 3rd stage of body tempering wasn't normal, but even mediocre. Yong Kai notes that the other apprentice brothers who entered the pavilion at the same time as him have long since passed this stage and are heading towards their future achievement. The hero had no choice but to do all the dirty work in the sect, continuing to train. The Heavenly Pavilion is a sect with a very distinct feature, which is the intensity of competition between disciples. In this place, power is everything. The principles are very simple. Take it away or it will be taken away from you. This law of the jungle has been around for a long time. If in other sects the foundation is built on friendship and relationships of students, then here everything is different. If you want to ascend, you will literally need to climb a ladder made up of your fellow human beings. The Sky Tower has a rule: students who are not yet 14 years old, regardless of their background, are sent for a 3-year internship. In these 3 years, everything is paid for by the sect, and all you have to do is practice. If you can complete your body tempering within these 3 years, then you will be taken to a famous sect with strong masters who will take you as a disciple, but of course, you can also practice alone if you wish. This is one of the special features of this pavilion. However, those who fail the test will either be forced to leave the sect or become apprentice helpers. The Sky Tower Pavilion consists of more than 3,000 disciples, while the apprentice assistants can be counted on one's fingers. Comfort is not guaranteed. Even if you miss a meal or it's too cold, no one will care. They've already tried to evict him. Obviously, the hero does not want to allow such a development of events. Yong Kai realizes that they only lived for a couple of decades. The guy believes that if the choice has already been made, then you need to stick to it. Swerving halfway is ridiculous. While the hero went about his business, the other students gradually started to wake up. Several of them decided to visit him. Several guys approach the hero. One of them notices Yong Kai. From their faces, it becomes clear that nothing good can be expected. They surround the guy from all sides. Everyone is determined to show the guy his place in the world, pointing out that he is a student assistant, and that he still remains at the 3rd level of body hardening. It turns out that 5 days have passed since the test, and today there will be another one. One of the guys is dissatisfied with the actions of his comrades. He points out that it's not fair for Yong Kai to fight alone against so many opponents. Then the leader of the group notices that no one is keeping a protector here. The hero at this time gets down on his knees, taking a pose for meditation. This makes the students laugh. Yong Kai meditates, ignoring everyone present who taunts him at this time. Some of the kids start whispering. Some do not understand why Yong Kai is sitting, while others explain to him that he is meditating. 2 men step forward. One of them expresses his opinions, thinking that the guy should stop doing nonsense and let them beat him up. In that case, they would both save themselves some time. The student also notices that the guy will definitely lose, because it is only at the 3rd level of body tempering. The second talker supports his friend, noting that they are different from him, so the faster this fight ends, the faster they will be able to return to their training. The hero ignores them, plunging deeper and deeper into meditation. A bird sitting on a tree notices how energy flows around the guy's body. This scares her, causing her to fall off the branch. The bell begins to ring. It's ringing all around. So when the bell rings 9 times and the sun rises in the east, then a new day will come. Yong Kai's eyes snap open, coming out of his meditation. Chapter 1-2. The hero rises from his knees. He is immediately surrounded by bullies on all sides, who are already rubbing their fists in anticipation of the beating. One of the students asks Yong Kai to choose him. He even promises that he will be very lenient. The guy jokingly calls the student assistant master. The boy receives a powerful punch in the gut from a neighbor, who declares that he only needs 1 blow to end the fight. The second guy claims that this way he will save everyone time. A stampede of students begins. Everyone wants to show their superiority over the hero by asking them to choose him. The master assistant is in a hurry to choose his opponent, so someone in the crowd demands that he make his choice faster. Yong Kai then throws the broomstick into the air to the astonished stares of those present, who gape in incomprehension. The broom falls to the ground, pointing at a particular student. The guy laughs, happy that he got a chance to prove himself in front of everyone. He comes forward in high spirits, telling his dear brothers not to be angry because he was chosen today. The students get angry, calling the kid a lucky bastard. Young Kai stands in front of his opponent. We are once again shown that he is an assistant disciple and has the third stage of body tempering. His opponent is an ordinary student. His name is Zhu Dingyun, and he has the fifth stage of body tempering. It turns out that in the Sky Tower Pavilion, students differ in rank. The best students are the core students, then the elite students, then the senior students. The penultimate students in this group are ordinary students, and the last are assistant students. The main disciple is chosen from among the elite, later becoming one of the leaders of the sect. Yang Kai notices that Zhu Dingyun may be an ordinary disciple, but he still hasn't been accepted into another sect. Both opponents wish each other a good sparring session, after which the hero is the first to take off. He throws a series of punches, and his opponent notes to himself that this is a wide kick, a must-learn technique for lower-ranked students. He easily dodges Yang Kai's series of punches. Zhu Dingyun abruptly moves to the side, then hits the hero's arm with an elbow, and then ends the series with a knee under the stomach. Yang Kai's face changes. It is clear that he is experiencing unpleasant sensations. Chapter 1-3. Zhu Dingyun is about to throw a right punch at the guy's face, but the latter takes a step back. A normal student's fist sweeps by a few centimeters away from him. This action puts the guy in a stupor. He's a little startled by this development. Yang Kai decides to take advantage of this moment to strike back. The hero clenches his fist, intending to complete the duel. His opponent privately admits that he was tricked, but he does not see anything terrible in this. He decides to strike back. The two students' fists collide. Yang Kai is sent flying backwards by the powerful blow, falling on his back. Zhu Dingyun's fist is steaming. He admits that the opponent's punch was faster than him, but Yang Kai's body is so weak and fragile that it will be critical for him. An ordinary disciple would realize that if his cultivation level was the same as the opponent's, then perhaps he would be the one lying on the ground right now. Zhu Dingyun puts his hands together to mark the end of the fight. He closes his eyes, saying that his brother let him win. The crowd begins to mock the actions of an ordinary student. One of them is surprised that Zhu Dingyun thought that he really had won. The other guy laughs at this, claiming that the guy probably never heard of Yang Kai's reputation. A voice from the outside notes that this is getting interesting. Zhu Dingyun himself doesn't understand what's going on. He understands that he only used one punch to take down the opponent. However, based on the rules of the sect, his opponent should have lost since he can't fight anymore. Yang Kai rises to his feet at this time. He demands another duel, and then breaks down from his seat, starting to quickly reduce the distance between himself and the enemy. The hero turns his leg for a kick, and Zhu Dingyun recognizes this kick. It's a foot whip. The guy is amazed that his opponent can easily use this technique like this. The average student is not lost. He strikes Yang Kai first, knocking him back to the floor. The hero rises to his feet again, demanding to repeat the duel again, while Yang Kai again breaks down on his opponent to make another attempt. One of the crowd points out that Yang Kai is incredible, but he points out that no matter how long the guy goes up, he still loses. At the same time, Zhu Dingyun, who is parrying all the blows of the opponent and striking back, can't believe that he was challenged to a fight by such a madman. Chapter 1-4. Yang Kai didn't give up. Time after time, he rose to his feet, attacking his opponent with the same tenacity and strength. Zhu Dingyun was already starting to think that his boyfriend was crazy, because if he didn't give up right now, he would injure himself. Looking into his brother's eyes and seeing only the determination to win, Zhu Dingyun realized that Yang Kai would not stop until he lost consciousness. As Zhu Dingyun moved away from another quick but not strong blow from his opponent, he decided to end this eternal confrontation. To do this, he struck a not weak blow with the edge of his palm on the neck of his brother, who after such a blow lost consciousness, falling to the floor. At the same time, a girl wearing a mask covering the lower part of her face was standing on a tree. She has a blue dot in her forehead and a pink bow with yellow inserts on her head. She is dressed in a lilac dress. She wrote down with a brush in her notebook that assistant disciple Yang Kai had fought an ordinary disciple, Zhu Dingyun. There is also a note saying that Zhu Dingyun won. It turned out that the girl belongs to the Hall of Shadows of the Sky Tower Pavilion. These are special forces. They are under the jurisdiction of the Third Elder. Their job is to keep records of everything that happens within the sect, including duels between students. None of the students are worried about their achievements or points earned in the sect. The Shadow Hall disciples take this into account as well, announcing the results every month. The girl wrote that it was the 7th century, the 15th year, and the month of May. She prescribed that Yang Kai's 147th trial was not successful. It turns out that the hero was tested every new month, trying to assess his speed of growth. Watching Yang Kai lying on the floor, the girl thinks about his motivation. She understands that being defeated 147 times is a record number in the entire history of the Heavenly Pavilion. A representative of the fair sex notices that the guy has already been demoted to an assistant student, and his well-being is neglected. Then she wonders what's keeping him in this place. She guesses that it was all because of his own stupidity. The hero rises to his feet. My whole body aches and my limbs tremble. He remembers that he didn't pass out under the tree, so he wonders why he woke up under it. Chapter 1-5. Young Kai notes that what is happening is very strange, because he does not remember before that there was someone in the sect who was kind enough to drag him under a tree. The guy breaks out of his thoughts, pain all over his body. The hero nervously complains that his bleeding wounds are not shared anywhere, even though he was dragged under a tree. He grabs his back. Then he notes that it would be better to leave it in the same place, because now he will have to heal your wounds more thoroughly. Then he notices that there's something in his right hand. He opens his fingers and sees a small bottle labeled medicinal ointment. Young Kai reflects on what is happening. In his hands is an ointment that stimulates blood clotting. He understands that the medicine in this place can be purchased for 10 achievement points. This means that even for a month of dirty work, he will not be able to buy such an ointment. The guy sniffs the smell, trying to figure out what it is. He is surprised to realize that this is medicine with smell-enhancing herbs. The guy hides the bottle in his clothes, mentally declaring that even though he still doesn't know who helped him, he, Young Kai, will definitely repay this person in the future. After such thoughts, the hero picks up his broom from the ground and goes to his small house. Young Kai takes off his clothes. There are several dozen bruises and abrasions on his body. He throws his things aside, leaving only his underwear on. Taking out a bottle of medicinal ointment, he decides to use it. Young Kai opens it, then takes a small part on his fingers. The guy understands that the ointment that stimulates blood clotting is good against physical wounds, but if he dilutes it in water, the effect will be much weaker. As much as the hero wanted to use all the ointment at once, but his brain kept saying that this should not be done, so he diluted a small part of the bottle in the water that began to wash. Young Kai understands that he must use this ointment very carefully. Having finished with the treatment of wounds, the hero collapses on the hay, which serves as a bed for him. He puts on clothes in advance so that it is more or less comfortable to sleep. The hero closes his eyes, hiding behind some kind of blanket. Suddenly, a faint purple mist appears next to him. Because of it, the guy starts to sweat a lot. Chapter 1-6. Young Kai sleeps on his back. Under his head appears a strange object in the form of a parallelepiped, which has a purple color. The guy dreams of one of his fights. After another fall, the hero rises to his feet and again breaks down on the enemy. His opponent is Zhu Dingyun. The opponent is amazed that this idiot does not give up. Then Young Kai jumps on it. With a kick, he knocks the opponent to the ground. The guy admits that he lost his balance. Standing over the defeated opponent, the hero grins. He breathes heavily, but confidently declares that it was not difficult for him to defeat him, and that soon no one in the whole world can resist him. Young Kai's smile in his dream is reflected on his real body. A strange dark purple energy penetrates the room to the guy. It reaches his body and hits him squarely in the head, causing him to wake up with an unpleasant sensation. Young Kai jumps up from his seat. Finding no one in the room but himself, he exhales calmly, mentally wondering what kind of dream he had. He admits that in that dream, he was so intimidating. The hero quickly discards such thoughts, considering all this nonsense. He looks through the hole and sees that the sun is still at its zenith, which means he's only been asleep for a couple of hours. The guy gets out of bed and puts all the bedclothes nicely. Then he notices something strange. He picks up a piece of rock. It seems to him that he has become different. It looks like it has become a little lighter. Then the stone jumps out of his hands, starting to glow with a purple glow. It opens abruptly. It turns out that this is a book. An unknown force begins to turn one page after another, as if looking for something necessary. When the book opens on a certain page, it falls to the floor. Young Kai looks on in bewilderment. He hesitates for a few moments about what to do, and then decides to pick up the object from the floor. His body is shaking slightly from fear, but he picks up the book from the floor anyway. When he touches it, the purple energy reappears. Chapter 1-7. Young Kai picks up the book, starting to flip through its pages. During this process, he realizes that the book is quite solid, but completely empty. The guy remembers that. I found this black stone while hunting in the mountains. He admits that he never thought it would turn out to be a book. The hero mentally notes that an empty book is of no use. Then he notices that yellow letters appear on one of the pages. They form several lines that read as follows. With a suitable vessel, a golden body will descend. It's not a miracle, but a golden immortal. Young Kai slams the book shut, realizing that the words have an intimidating aura. He hesitates for a few moments, biting his lip, before finally working up the courage to open the book again. Opening the book in the same place, the hero reads to the very end the entire phrase, which sounds like this: with a suitable vessel, a golden body will descend. It's not a miracle, but a golden immortal. Don't break the rules. May the indomitable spirit descend. The guy is trying to rethink everything. His last words about the indomitable spirit catch on. They don't understand what it means. He tries to sort through everything that happened earlier in his head, from turning the stones into a book to his dream. He guesses that his last dream may have something to do with this book. After repeating to himself the first lines about the golden body descending with a suitable vessel, young Kai decides to take a chance and try. He bites his thumb until it bleeds, and then a few drops fall on the page of the book. The place where his blood comes in contact with the book does not form spots, but a dark purple whirlpool appears. The spinning funnel continues to grow and literally rises from the book, freezing in the air above it. The hero repeats to himself the words that with a suitable vessel, a golden body will descend. A bright object appears out of the whirlpool. Because of its high brightness, it is difficult to understand what it is. The golden swirl transforms, and young Kai sees a skeleton sitting in the lotus position. The dark purple swirl on the pages of the book gradually disappears. Looking at the skull of the creature that has appeared, the guy thinks that he is mocking him, so the hero begins to pull his hands to him, trying to show him his place, because this is just an ordinary skeleton in his opinion. Chapter 1-8. The guy's hand passes through the skull of a golden skeleton, which abruptly begins to move towards him. In the next instant, the golden skeleton makes contact with the hero's torso. A powerful maelstrom of yellow energy envelops young Kai's body, which begins to absorb the power. The hero falls to the floor. Sweat trails down his temples. The book falls down beside him, and he growls in pain. Dropping to his knees, he clutches his chest, starting to feel the changes inside his skeleton. His broken and cracked bones begin to heal right before his eyes. It is clear that this does not happen painlessly. Young Kai screams from the unbearable pain inside his body. This is heard by one of the students who passed near his house. The guy is trying to withstand the real torment of hell. At the same time, he realizes that this golden immortal will want to take over his body and mind. But the hero does not intend to just retreat. He is determined to preserve his body and mind. Several hours pass. Evening comes. The day is drawing to a close. The sun is no longer as bright as it was at noon. Its rays took on a dimmer tone. The hero continues to lie on the floor, trying to endure this torture. Young Kai takes a sitting position, holding his head with one hand. He's trying to figure out what's going on right now, and what this book was doing in that forest. Then he is surprised to realize that his body is no longer aching from the pain. Once on his feet, the hero feels that he has become stronger. He assumes that his body has become stronger. He grabs his left hand by the wrist, realizing that all his injuries have evaporated. But it doesn't really change anything, because he's still at the third stage of body tempering. No drastic changes have taken place. Young Kai starts looking around nervously. He doesn't know where that book went. Just as he thought of it, the black book materialized in midair, falling to the floor with a loud pop. The guy walked over to the black book and picked it up from the floor. I checked my guess several times. It turned out that the book can appear and disappear at his behest. Chapter 1-9. He finally realized that this was a book made out of spirit stone. Only when hundreds of millions of spirits are gathered together in the abyss, and coupled with the exorbitant human labor, is such a spiritual stone created. The hero understands that with the help of such a treasure, not only can he easily crush the Heavenly Pavilion, but also almost any expert in this world. Young Kai realizes that he is too weak right now, so he wonders how he can keep this book safe. The guy admits that going out alone is practice. The only way he can protect her is to become stronger. Up to this point, he has traveled a lot and seen a lot of different things, so now it's time to start training. The hero decides that he needs to make the most of it, since he owns this black book. He notices that there are still many pages in the book, which means that there is more than one treasure hidden in it. The hero opens a new page of the book, where another entry also appears, which reads, Majestic Golden Body, Body Tempering Records. The guy feels that something is pouring into his mind. Young Kai realizes that the notes on the body tempering technique have appeared in his head. He recalls one of the strokes, which looks very simple, but in fact, in order to achieve a good performance of this blow, it is necessary to observe a strict requirement, to practice only while facing the rising sun in the east. It follows that he will only be able to practice it for half an hour every day. The guy notices that the sun has set below the horizon. He yawns, noting that it's late and it's time to go to bed. The hero puts the book next to him and falls on his side, sinking into sleep. It's early morning. The roosters don't even have time to start singing when young Kai comes out of his house. Seeing that the sun is just beginning to rise from the horizon, he knows that now is the right time. The guy takes a deep breath, then takes a fighting stance in order to start honing that very blow. He puts his hands shoulder-width apart, then concentrates his strength between his palms, preparing to hold the first blow correctly. The hero makes a blow, after which he begins to feel an unpleasant kickback in the bones all over his body, which begin to crack from the heavy load. Chapter 1-10. Young Kai is breathing heavily, trying to catch his breath. Sweat is pouring down his face. He realizes that it was only the first of 6 moves. The guy is horrified that this is not even 1% of the body tempering technique, but it already has some difficulties in learning. After taking a couple of breaths, the hero takes a deep breath, deciding to continue training. Mentally, he notes that he must not give up. The next 3 moves are also not easy. Sweat drops from the guy's fists, and after performing the movements, the whole body begins to tremble from the frenzied load. He exhales heavily and then continues training, realizing that there isn't much time to hone this punch. With a belligerent roar, he continues to repeat those 6 movements, which each time are given easier and easier to the hero. Half an hour passes. Training time is over. The hero closes his eyes to calm the trembling all over his body and assess his progress. He is experiencing a very unusual feeling. He is visited by the thought that he has moved on to the 4th stage of body hardening. He marvels at this, as it took him almost 3 years to reach the 3rd stage of body tempering, and it only took him half an hour to advance further. Yong-kai realizes that the technique he used now is extremely effective. The hero's face paled. It turned out that there was a side effect of such a tough workout. Yong-kai fell to his knees, spitting out some strange black concoction from his body. After wiping his lips when the vomit is all out, the guy realizes that it is the impurities of his body. It turns out that the practice of the body hardening technique contributes to the gradual removal of impurities from the body. Yong-kai had experienced this before, but never before. Faced with such a volume, as he gets to his feet, he realizes that even though he has reached a new stage, he still hasn't been able to make any real progress in learning the fist tempering technique. Raising his eyes to the sky, the hero realizes that he was able to comprehend only about 1% of the entire technique, but even now he is beginning to wonder what will happen when he fully masters it. Yong-kai picks up a broom and goes about his business. Chapter 1-11. A girl with a dark blue diamond in her forehead stands at her post, continuing to keep records of what is happening in her zone. Then she notices that the guy she helped yesterday is now alive and well and starts dusting the entrance. Yong-kai goes about his business with a serious face. One of the students asks how he is doing, and the other sweeps that the hero has been sweeping in this place for an hour. The girl watching everything from the tree laughs. Mentally, I think the guy is an oddball. The guy is completely lost in his own thoughts, despite the fact that he now practices such a special tempering technique every morning. It turns out that the rest of the day he is always free. Then the hero hears footsteps nearby. One of the students runs into him, but Yong-kai remains standing like a rock while the runner falls on his 5th point, trying to recover. The hero decides to find out if everything is in order with the brother student. The boy assures the other person that everything is fine, repeating it twice out of excitement, and in his mind he wonders when Yong-kai became so strong, because not so long ago, he could not stand up to anyone like an autumn leaf. The boy quickly gets to his feet and runs away, saying one last word that he has to go. Yong-kai asks the fleeing disciple brother where he is going in such a hurry. The guy tells him that he is going to the Hall of Merit. Then it dawns on the hero that today is the 8th day of the month. It turns out that every 8th day of the month, all students' achievement points are added up, and as a result, they are awarded rewards and, possibly, even promoted in rank. The guy starts counting his points. He only had 10 contribution points. However, he was challenged 6 times, in which he lost. This means that he lost 6 points, respectively. Yong-kai exhales heavily, realizing that this time, he will only get 4 points in a month. He also notices that he may have continued to sweep without remembering the event. The hero enters the Hall of Merit. He sees an old man sitting with his back to the guests. The guy understands that this old man is dreaming about the students of their pavilion again. The old man really has hearts in his eyes. He does not react to the appearance of the guy, continuing to fly in his dreams. Yong-kai refers to the old man as Guardian Meng. Then the old man pays attention to him, turning his whole body towards him. He calls them child, smiling slightly. Chapter 1-12. The hero decides to clarify what the other person is looking at in this way. The old man answers the question with a question, wanting to know why the disciple didn't arrive here this morning. Yong-kai claims that he had too much to do this morning. Guardian Meng begins to wag, saying that he understands everything. But it turns out that the student interrupted his serious thoughts about the secrets of the universe. The old man asks whether to give everything to the student as usual. The guy gives a positive answer, after which 10 pieces of silver appear on the table, and Keeper Meng himself fixes them in his document. Yong-kai decides to clarify how many contribution points he currently has available. The man explains that each month the guy gets 4 points, one of which he spends on 10 silver coins. That leaves 3. In total, he had accumulated 12 contribution points. The old man asks if the guy wants to buy a bottle of cream for healing wounds. The hero refuses, but thanks for the offer. Inwardly, he realizes that 12 points is very small, because he can't even ask for one stalk of precious herbs. Guardian Meng notes that the growth rate of a disciple is greatly affected due to the fact that he is trying to save up for the essence tempering pill, so the old man wonders how much longer he still wants to collect. Glasses. The guy, realizing that his path is very difficult, notes that he can succeed thanks to this. The old man declares that with his current growth rate, he will have long since passed away. The hero still decides to find out one important detail that he does not understand. The interlocutor allows you to ask a question. He wonders why no one has exchanged their points for the essence tempering pill so far, even though there was even an announcement that it appeared in their pavilion. Keeper Meng explains that the whole reason is up to him. It turns out that O personally manages it, so very few people know about it. These words surprise the guy, so he asks again if the other person really has the pill. The old man replies that the interlocutor should not think too much, because even if he has it now, he still has to exchange it for contribution points. The old man notes that his word in this matter is far from the last. Then the guy confidently declares that he will accumulate a sufficient number of contribution points.